Hey wonderful people, I'm ZSH Plays. Welcome to Building Jurassic Park. I am so excited about this new series. We're going to be building the original Jurassic Park as described in Michael Crichton's novel. If you've only seen the film, do not worry, they are very similar, but this one has more dinosaurs, which is always good. And as you can see, we'll be building it in Jurassic World Evolution 2. The way it's going to work is each episode we're going to pick an area of the park to build, plan it out, build it, and then if you've seen my channel before, you'll know I love these. We will finish up with some beautiful cinematics of the finished build. So this area here is the waterfall where the park's first and sadly last guests arrived by helicopter. So this is what we're mainly going to be concentrating on today. We'll be building a visitor centre, arrival point, all the park's facilities, and we're also going to plan out the route for the Jeep tour around the entire park. So here's the map that we're using, Isla Nublar 1993. There is a restriction on this map, unfortunately, which we're going to have to work with, which is this area here in the middle, which you can't build on. So it's going to be tough to get all the paddocks into the right place where they should be, but I have worked out a way of doing it, which is what we're going to get onto now. So the first thing I'm going to do is rough out the Jeep tour. So in the Jurassic Park novel, there is a Jeep tour that runs all the way through the park, just the same as it is in the film, and we need to work out where that's going to go. All the roads are raised above the ground to give the best view of the dinosaurs, and I'm going to rough out the various different paddocks here. All the ones that you see in the film are present, and there's also some additional ones which aren't in the film, including an aviary, which I think they cut from the script to save money, potentially because they weren't quite sure how to do pterosaurs. And then they ended up using it for Jurassic Park 3. So that is going to be in this build, seeing as we have aviaries in the game. This is the main area that the park will cover. It will be split into 6 paddocks, and I'll tell you their names and what is going to be in each one. Hypsilophodon Highlands with Hypsilophodon and Othnielia. The Jungle River Ride with Dilophosaurs, and behind it the Sauropod Swamp with Apatosaurs and Hadrosaurs. The aviary for Sierradactylus, Carnivore Country where the T-Rex lives, Stegosaurus South, which also features Euoplocephalus, and Triceratops territory with Styracosaurus as well. There'll also be an unfinished paddock for the Velociraptors, which they had to be moved out of due to their rather violent nature. Back at the waterfall, it is time to start building. So we're pretty tight on space here, and we're going to get the most important buildings in first, starting with the visitor centre. So this is described in the book similar to how it is in the film. It's such an iconic building, and it'll allow us to have the iconic shot of the Jeeps driving past it. And then next to that was the safari lodges. Now this is described in the book very differently to how it appears in the film. It's got a sort of a African safari theme in the film. In the book, it's much more of a modern approach. It's described as a long, low building with a series of glass pyramids on the roof. Nothing like that in Jurassic World Evolution 2, but it is a safari lodge, and we do have this large hotel which is safari themed. They obviously took it a bit more literally in the film, so that's what we're going to use to replicate that. Now behind this is of course the Raptor pen, which is where they were moved to in the story, after presumably eating their way through half of the staff when they were in their outdoor enclosure. But firstly we're going to put a road in, so I'm just putting this in to see what sort of space we've got to play with and how this is going to work, and then I'll replace it with a Jeep ride. So looking pretty decent here. In front of the visitor centre is a water feature which I'm going to put in here. I think it should have sort of concrete surrounds or rocks or something, so I'll do my best to replicate that with the tools that we have, and it's got some nice plant life in it as well, which I'm replicating here. I think it's like water lilies and things like that. So we're going to edge this off, make it sit a bit more naturally into the terrain, and then this is going to look nice when the Jeep tour drives past it. Behind it is some more trees. You can see them in a lot of these shots in the film. They're filming the Jeeps driving past the visitor centre through the trees. And now it's time for the Raptor pen. So the hatchery in this game is, I'm assuming, based on the Raptor pen in the film. and it's described pretty similarly in the book. And this is where they've been moved to, like I say, after their hijinks in their paddock. Now in sandbox mode you still have to have the paths joined up and have science centres and everything else, same as you do in the standard game. I almost forgot the maintenance shed, very useful for turning back on the power if it ever went out for any reason. I think in the book pretty much everything is done out of the offices above the visitor centre, so we're going to need to put some extra buildings in. And then we're going to fence off the compound to keep everybody safe from any escaped raptors. Can't see any problems there, as long as no disgruntled computer programmers turn off the power. And then we're going to move on to the helicopter pad. So this is where the guests enter the island. It only struck me recently when I was reading the book, this isn't a normal theme park. I don't mean because it's got dinosaurs in it, but normally a theme park you would have, I don't know, 10,000 guests a day, whereas with Jurassic Park it's an island that's only accessible by helicopter. And they do mention the eye-watering prices that they're going to charge. They basically say they can charge whatever they like because people will come here, and because it's for entertainment they're not going to be regulated. They can do whatever they like. So yeah, you'd only have a few guests a day, which leads on to one of the issues I've had designing this, which I have managed to work around, which is that the Jeep tour in Jurassic Park, both in the book and in the film, is essentially one way, because you only have a handful of guests each day in the park paying huge amounts of money to come, so you don't need 2 lanes of traffic. You know, a couple of jeeps will set off with a set of guests, and then another set of guests would arrive and some more jeeps would set off, and there's no need to have 2 lanes of traffic, so to speak. But in the game it does force you to have a closed loop for the jeep tracks, so that's something I've had to work with. We'll get onto that more in future episodes when we start the jeep tour. So onto the planting up now. Michael Crichton describes how the road from the helipad down towards the visitor centre is surrounded by palm trees on either side. So I've replicated that there, and then added palm trees throughout the visitor centre area, and a few decorations as well. Moving on to the jeep tour now. So like I say, this gave me no end of problems, but we got there in the end. I'm going to replace the road with the jeep tour, and there's kind of a bottleneck to the right of where you're looking at now, where it's really hard to fit both ways of the track in, but I managed it in the end. So I'm using the concrete roadway to begin with as it goes past the visitor centre, which is how it looks in the film, and then moving on to just the electric tracks going through sort of sand and dirt in the park itself, which again matches what it looks like. And then I'm going to add in the sort of return path that wasn't there in the book but is needed by the game. The Raptor pen is surrounded by sand, so I'm going to add that in here and then concentrate on decorating it. The decorations and the exact layout of the visitor area isn't really described in the book in any detail, so I'm just kind of using what Jurassic World Evolution 2 gives us, and then filling it in with rocks. If you've watched my channel as well as cinematics, you'll know that I'm a big fan of rock work, so we get a lot of that done here. And that is the visitor centre done. So we will take a look at the finished article now. I really hope you like it. If you enjoyed this, please remember to subscribe, and I will see you in the next episode, where we will be working on the first habitat, the Hypsilophodon highlands. Thank you for watching, and I will see you later.